What's going on, guys? This is Misfit. Welcome back to OverTakes. Today we're going to be talking some player moves, a little off-season stuff, some news from Blizzard on Overwatch 2, and a couple other things that we're going to dive into a little bit. But before we start diving into things, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me on YouTube. Thank you very much for all of your likes, all of the subscribes, all of the support you guys have been giving me. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. If you're new to the channel, thanks for dropping by. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. I do Overwatch League content. Right now I'm doing once a week. We're a little slow. I'm going to try and do more as big things happen. When I can, when my schedule allows it, I'm going to try and do some more stuff. We're going to get more into, when we start getting more roster moves and things like that, we're going to get more into not where we think these teams are going to finish, because we don't know what the game's going to look like when we get there, but on paper, what these teams, where we're thinking they're going to be at. If they made good moves, bad moves, we're going to start grading teams and all that stuff, because that stuff is just kind of fun to talk about. But let's dive into the news. Not a ton going on in and around the game other than player moves and stuff like that. We had confirmation that Overwatch 2 is pretty much going to be the featured game at the BlizzCon line, however they want to call it, whatever quirky name they came up for it. So that's going to be the future thing. So we know we're going to get something. Whether they're dropping a beta, telling us when it's going to actually drop. Hopefully we get some concrete news on that, because the game is kind of floating around in this weird spot right now where some people are waiting for the new game, some people are playing the old game, and kind of doing the same thing. They're testing a lot of things out, and it's making the game kind of, at times, the best it's been. And like right now, they've buffed things back up in there, like Brig and May and stuff like that, and you're stuck playing in ranked with that. I'm just, like, right now, I'm sticking with quick play. I'm not getting involved in ranked or I'm not the greatest, but it's just not fun right now. I have fun sometimes when I lose and things like that. Even at the ranks that I'm at, I'm in like silver and stuff. I'm not the greatest guy that plays. I like watching it. I like absorbing and watching good people play. It is what it is with as far as I play, but I want a better experience, and I know ranked will hopefully get better when we get to Overwatch 2. But so we had that. Apparently there's a mobile, they were talking mobile games and things like that too. They're very, very high on them. I know Call of Duty mobile, it does really well for them. So that's one of the things that they're looking at. Hopefully they kind of added that like on the sly. I don't think it's going to be the main focus. See BlizzCon 2018. But yeah, that's pretty much the news. I mean, yeah, the game is what it is. I love the game still. I will always go in there and play. I got a couple of the Halloween skins, I didn't get all the ones I wanted, but there really weren't a ton that I wanted. I got the Winston one. I really wanted that. A lot of the characters they had skins for, I don't play a ton of. So I did go back and get a couple of ones I didn't have. A couple I thought I had, and I didn't realize I didn't. Like the Cultist Zenyatta skin. I love playing with Zenyatta, and that's one of my favorite ones that they came up with. And for some reason, I've been using the Jonak skin so much, I forgot that I didn't have the Cultist skin. So I went back and got that. Other than that, it's been fun in quick play and doing. Junkenstein's the best event that they have. Shoot me, but I love that one. But hopefully that's a clear indicator we're getting something, and also it's a jump start and kind of the start of us getting the information as to when, how, what the Overwatch League is going to be format-wise in 2021. So we got that. Now let's get into what everybody's here for in the off season. It's been slow, and I kind of thought it was going to be. I'm not gonna lie. I knew there was gonna be moves here and there, and a couple of guys getting signed, and some teams are, just want to tell you who they got right away, and some teams want to tell you when they got their starting six. It all depends on the team. So most teams probably have more guys than you think. Some teams you're looking at, you're like, oh wow, they only got 2 players. They probably have all 6. They just haven't told you yet. November 13th is when some of the other big names are going to be out there too. We talked about this in the last episode. So next week is going to be pivotal. Like end of next week, early the week after, we're going to be seeing some guys that had the November 13th, and there's a November 20th. A few of them have November 20 as well, for their contract ending. Some teams are just flat out have already taken care of business, and some of the guys that have those are available now. And the other teams are waiting to release statements and players and all that because they're probably just doing trials, or they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. I think some teams are waiting to see who's available. It's a big thing, like our guy is above average, but on November 13th, say Jonak's available. You got the cash. Is he going to leave? Probably not. But, you might want to make a run for him. But we had a couple of big moves this week. Well, at least one. The last time we talked, we were talking about Dallas. And we'll count them in the big moves. I said one in the last couple of days. Let's put it that way. So we didn't get to talk about... And I wasn't just going to do an episode for two guys because I was waiting for a couple other things to happen because, I'm seeing Albert from Mayhem posted a tweet with 6 locks on it. So there's that. And, other teams, you get the eyeballs all over the place. Some people are trolling. Some people aren't. Hard to say, but we had Fielder and Rappel signed with Dallas. So they have 2 flex supports now. That's 2 solid moves. All right, I understand it to an extent. You want a couple of guys because there's a lot of times when, especially this year, where teams are running Bap Anna or they're running Zen and Bap, or you're running a dual flex support in quotes. I really would like to see some of these main supports play some other stuff. It's like your main support is just hard stuck playing Lucio and Mercy, and potentially whatever comes down the road. But it seems like they're only doing Lucio and Mercy, to me. And then the rest of the supports fall onto your flex support. So you need a couple of them. There's times, you run Moira Bap or something like that. You're going to need 2 flex supports. So that's a good move. Fielder... I've been hot on Fielder for a long time. Please get him in the building. Dallas will do that as much as they can. They're going to get him in the building so he's not on 200 ping. He was playing insane Anna and a little bit of Zenyatta and doing some other things on 200 ping, which is insane. So he's fantastic. Rappel, he's a good backup guy. Maybe get him on a couple of heroes so he has like 2 heroes or 3 heroes maybe that he's just really, really good at and can complement Fielder. And, we're just still waiting on... They have the Element Mystic core going on here. And we're going to talk about some more stuff after we talk about the solid moves that we've heard. We're going to talk a little the rumor mill, all the hearsay, and where some of these, guys like Halo and some of these guys have been talking about people are moving to, which... provide some very interesting conversation. And I want you guys to get involved in that. And, I want to hear what you think. If it's bullshit, if you think it's bullshit or not. The guy's got a good track record, some of the stuff is pretty interesting, pretty juicy. But, so, we had that. And then the big move of the week was Mano going to the Philadelphia Fusion. Here's the thing with me. If you guys aren't new on the show, I'm a main tank critic. I get nitpicky, a little too much too nitpicky with main tanks and how good they are, and it's just for me. They're like one of the most important tools. Yeah, you can. It's like in football. It's like a wide receiver. You can fill in a guy with 4.4 speed and so hands on a really good team, and he'll be fine. But if your offensive line, i.e. the tanks, are terrible, like your left tackle that's protecting your quarterback, you're gonna shit the bed because they have no space. There's nothing being created. There's nothing for them. There's no sight lines. There's all of the technical parts of the game. If you don't have a good main tank, It's terrible. Mano is a really good main tank. I have issues with his aggressiveness. Season 1, and maybe it was the coaching, maybe it was playing with those other guys, but there at times he's a very reactive, I'm waiting for them to make a mistake. Bring your game to me, and I will counter you, and not stop me. I like the stop me guy. Stop me from doing what I'm doing. That's my favorite kind of main tank, so I'm a little critical of Mano. Now, is it a good move for Philadelphia? Yes, it is. I'm not saying he's a bad tank, guys. He's a really good tank. And we don't know what metas are going to happen, and we don't know what they're going to do with Sato. They could still keep Sato for certain situations. You don't know what's going to happen as far as with Overwatch 2, who they buffed, nerfed, what characters are coming in. It's not a bad idea to have two solid main tanks. I do think on Philadelphia, he's going to do really well. Here's why. What I like about Mano is his game sense, his awareness, and knowing how to counter things, and just the way that he goes about playing the game. He played on championship caliber teams, much like Philadelphia, had great supports, much like Philadelphia, and the one thing he gets with Philadelphia is better DPS. So with that, I want to see. Now, I don't know if their playstyle is going to change at all. They're very aggressive at times. Is he going to fit into that aggression? But we had a coaching change there too, so hard to say. If he can dial up the aggression, he's calculated and he knows what he's doing. And overall, he's a top 6 main tank in the league right now. You know, we barring who comes in, who goes out, and all that kind of stuff, and what the meta is, and all the variables that are there. He's still somebody that I would take on my team. I'm just saying there are certain things that I critique with him. I don't like the passiveness. Probably a lot of it had to do with coaching and the play style with the other guys in the team. You know, it was kind of the protect the Jonak thing. If he gets in a different scenario, he could play different. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I think it's a fantastic move. I don't think Sato is bad. I just think Mano's an upgrade. I'm not on the Sato is bad train. I think this year, though, he did benefit from having one of the best support lines in the league in Funny Astro and Alarm. So there's that variable, and maybe with Mano, he has a better support line than he did in New York. I think Alarm's better than Jonak. I think Funny Astro's better than Animo. That's just my thinking. I think he's going to fit in well. He's not a toxic guy or anything like that. He's a very smart player. I think it's a great move. So that's the big move of the week, plus the Dallas moves. I like what Hastro's doing, though. I'm going to talk about this for a second. He basically said, hey, we signed a player, we're telling you. And it's great. I like it. I understand some guys want to have the big reveal and the cool video and all that. I love the cool video. Just tell me who you got and make the cool video anyway. Can we just do that? That would be fantastic. But he's pretty transparent about what's going on. He's dedicated to building this roster of monsters, generally from Element Mystic. So let's continue this discussion about Dallas into the rumor mill. The rumor mill, the whatever Inside Edition, whatever fucking you want to call it, Entertainment Tonight, rumor mill stuff. A lot of it's from Halo of thoughts. I like him. I like what he does. I like the fact that he does this. We need guys like this doing that, guys. I know some people are like, oh, you're ruining stop it. Every other sport we do this. We have Adam Schefter with 16 cell phones fucking on the trade deadline, which didn't do anything this year, but when free agency hits, he's saying, oh, per reports, X guy is going to sign with the Bears and leave the Patriots or whatever. I like that stuff. It keeps the talk going. You need that. You need to be talking about this when there's downtime. That's what makes leagues like the NFL great. The rumor mills, the free agency. Hell, the NFL, they even have us watching, glued to a television if you're an NFL fan, watching them pick players, for Christ's sake. You're sitting there watching a bunch of guys talking about who they're signing a contract to. They've made a production out of it. We need stuff like this. We need Halo. We need other people doing stuff like this to keep the conversation going. I'm trying to do that. I don't have inside information. If you guys want to talk to me about inside information, any of you guys listening, I'm open. Let me know. My ears are open. I have a big mouth. I'll be all over Twitter. I'm down with that. But that being aside, let's talk about the rumors we have going on this week. All right, so with Dallas. Oh, we did have before we get into that, we did have a couple I forgot to mention. We did have a couple of guys get released this week. Before we dive into that, we had Paris still gutting, apparently. I don't know what they're doing because we kind of thought that they were going to go all EU. But they released Soon, Ben Best, and Nico. They're 3 French players. So they're not going that route either. And then Jerry, as of today, which is Thursday, got released. You guys are listening to this on Friday. So Jerry got released from Boston. That's a good guy for somebody to pick up. 3rd DPS guy. Probably not going to come at a high price either. And it's strange that they just flat released him. Usually they kind of do a trade-off thing. But I find that interesting. Very, very interesting that they let him go. All right, so back to the rumor mill. So this week in Rumorland, we have a lot of this started building steam yesterday. So per reports, now this has got a lot of layers to it. The biggest layer is Dallas is going to acquire Fearless from Shanghai. And the Dragons are looking to get Fate from Florida. And because Florida has apparently signed Muse. That's some pretty heavy-duty main tank stuff going on there. I don't know. I love Fate, but it's definitely not an upgrade for Shanghai to get Fate instead of Fearless. But Fearless was part of that Element Mystic family, so he could be, going back and playing with all the boys. Different eras of Element Mystic, but I'm not 100% on the crossover on those guys. Remember, I'm not the biggest Contenders guy, but I know where they come from, and I've watched certain bits of things. I'm not emotionally invested like a lot of other people are. Fearless to Dallas would be huge. So that shores up pretty much their 6. Plus they have Rappel. Pretty much shores up their 6, but minus the main support. So you have that, and then Muse going to the Mayhem is an upgrade, I think. We'll talk about that later if and when it happens. He says it's pretty much 100% certain. Fate going to Dragons makes sense if you see who the coach is. Coach is Moon. Moon worked with Fate before, so you might want to get him in there. Fate's not a bad main tank. I just think Fearless is better right now. So they're downgrading a little bit. It doesn't make sense on paper, but him and Moon have a history. They might like working together, and it might be a good thing for Fate. I loved him on my team. I would like to see him stay, but you know what? If he goes, he goes. Muse, I want to see and make sure this is, 100%, but that's the biggest one that we've heard. Dallas will be a monster team with this. Depending on who they get for main support, at this point, I would assume you could go with somebody like Jexay. Who knows? They go out and get Slime. There's a lot of options out there. I mean, they're going big budget, and they're not fucking around this year. So there's that. And then we've had a couple other rumors. Now, from the Gladiators, I've heard, and seen from Halo and a couple other people that it looks like potentially Moth and Shu go there. I don't know about Moth. I'm on the fence about him leaving that team. It doesn't make sense from his standpoint. I mean, yeah, go grab the bag. But here's the thing. You take $10,000 less or $20,000 less, stay with the Shock, you're probably going to be in the finals or close to it. You have a better chance of getting the bonus money from winning the championship and tournaments and all that stuff with the Shock than you will with the Gladiators. It's just the way that team operates. I would stay there. Yeah, I'll take a lower base salary, sure. because I know I'm going to win this tournament, that tournament, probably be in the finals. I'm going to get a good chunk of that money. I have my bag, and I get the extra bag to go with it. I don't know how fashion works. You get the sunglasses in the bag, I guess. Whatever you want to call it. I would stay with San Francisco if I were him. Yeah, there's challenges in going to a new team and all that, but fuck that, man. You're part of a dynasty. Stay there. Be part of the greatness. Yeah, there's always a challenge in bringing a team up out of the ashes or whatever. Why wreck a good thing? I think Shu would be a great pickup for the Gladiators. That's going to work out fantastic for them if that's true. Shu and Moth would be awesome. I would love to see that. Either way they go, if they get Shu, that's great. I think that's a fantastic pickup. Puts him in a really good direction. I think he's one of the most underrated flex supports in the league. And I think this is a great place for him. There's some, there were a couple other things along with the Moth and Shu rumors. We also have Pelican going to the Reign. Pelican and Edison is going to would be a great DPS combo for Atlanta. I think that would be fantastic. And you throw in Sharp. You got a good trio of DPS. I think that's a good pickup. One of the weird ones that he has on here, Yakpung to the NYXL. If you remember, Yakpung was with the Toronto Defiant in Season 1. Started off okay. Well, actually, he started off really good. And then as the season went on, it just was apparent that he wasn't the answer there. So, I don't know. That was also GOAT's year. I really have trouble quantifying guys that did well in the GOAT's meta. And not counting guys like on the Shock that are just some of the best players in the league, if not a bunch of the best players in the league. That's an iffy move for me, for them. I don't like that. That's definitely a downgrade from Mano, for sure. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that. I don't know if it's budgetary because they want to re-up Jonak and a couple other guys, so they got to cut somebody out of the mix to sign some of the other guys that they deem more important. They've already gutted a good portion of their roster, so I don't know where they're going. I doubt that a New York fan base is going to want a budget team, but a lot of teams are going that way. I don't think they're going to go full budget, but I think they're going to bring in some new blood. I don't like the Nene, them getting rid of Nene. I didn't like that. And, Mono for Yakpung does not make sense to me. So I want to see where they're going for the rest of their roster. It's going to be very, very interesting. They also cut Mondu this week, who they were really high on. They brought him in as a backup main support. I thought he was potentially going to take over for Animo, but I think they're going with Animo anyway. You have a solid, not the best, but pretty close to it support line. You can make arguments for a lot of people in that, but Jonak and Animo are really good. We'll see what happens coming up. I don't think Jonak's bad. I just think there's some other guys that are better now. He's not what he was in 2018 because some other guys came up. It's not that he's bad. It's just that guys like Alarm, guys like Violet, guys like Twilight, some other guys are just better than him right now. And it's not, I would take him on my team in less than a second if he became available. And my team has Gangnam Jin. I would take him over Gangnam Jin, and Gangnam Jin's great. But it's one of those things. I don't know where they're going, so it's kind of weird. Yakpung instead of Mono, but they have a plan, so I want to see what happens with that. Those are the most interesting things. There's been other rumors and rumblings like Sanguinar to the Mayhem. That kind of makes sense. I'm not as high on him as a lot of other people are, but that'll be fine. He also had like MCD going to Hangzhou. They need a lot, that team. So to me, I was very disappointed in what they did. So Hangzhou, whatever they do, is going to be an upgrade. I just don't think they got the chemistry down last year with the COVID thing. After that, they just were like behind all the time. That's the rumor mill for this week. For right now, if anything happens solid out of these, I will be on pretty quick and give you my thoughts, do a quick video, talk about it. And I want you guys to comment down below, get into this conversation. It's the off season. We have nothing to talk about other than shit you don't want to talk about involving politics and all that. Let's talk about Overwatch League. Instead of talking about COVID and all that stuff, let's have fun, dive into this, just take our minds off the craziness that's going on in the world for a little bit and talk about something fun, like guys moving around in the Overwatch League. There's a couple things I'm gonna do a couple of short videos on just topics that I want to talk about after today. We're gonna do a couple of different things. I have some things that I'm gonna kind of tease them. I want to talk about, how these teams are building rosters, what directions work and don't work, kind of. I'm being very vague right now because obviously I'm teasing it. I don't want to tell you exactly what I'm doing. But it's more revolving around how teams build rosters, what I think about, directions that teams are going in, maybe like just the league in general. Some of my general thoughts on what I think the best roster build is, what I think some fails are that teams do. Just stuff that I observe and have seen and heard and just talking to people and, interacting. A couple of different fun things we can talk about in the meantime while we're waiting for actual news to drop. Any of you content creators out there for the teams, start making those videos. Let's go. Come on. We're waiting. Last year, you had a bunch of them up because we had BlizzCon. Please don't wait till February. I don't have that kind of patience. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. As always, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Everybody out there on YouTube, thank you very much for all your support. It really does mean a lot to me. All the subscribes, likes, watches, everything that you guys have been doing lately for me, I appreciate it a lot. And just remember, comment down below. Let's get into the conversation. Tell me about your team, what you think's going on. What, if you're a Dallas fan, what you think about the potential of Fearless or, Mayhem fan like me, or if you're, a Paris fan or a Outlaws fan. There's 1,000 million of you guys. So what do you got to say? Let's dive into it, guys, and have some fun. But that's going to do it. This is Misfit. I'm out. Thanks for joining me. Everybody stay safe. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you on the next one.